The girl with the hidden basket. The night was cold. Wind blew through the broken metal walls of the alien camp. The stars above were covered with clouds and everything felt quiet. Too quiet. She moved carefully through the shadows, holding a small basket under her cloak. Her name was Lyra. She was small for her age, with silver eyes and soft blue skin like moonlight. Her feet made no sound. She had done this before. Food was hard to find in this place, even for the alien children, but Lyra had always saved a little from her own plate. Tonight, like many nights before, she was going to him, the human. No one else in the colony knew about him. He had been hiding in the ruins near the fuel tanks. Lyra had found him by accident 2 weeks ago when she chased a small creature and saw a shadow move. At first she was scared. Humans were enemies. That's what everyone said. Humans were monsters from the old war. But he didn't act like a monster. He was weak, dirty, and his clothes were torn. He didn't speak much. When she had left a small fruit near him the first night, he just stared. But the next day it was gone, so she came back. Again. And again. Now it had become her secret. Lyra reached the edge of the ruins. Her sharp eyes scanned the dark. She gave a soft sound, like a bird's call, a signal. There was silence. Then, movement. He stepped from behind, a crushed wall. He walked slowly, carefully. His beard was long now, his hair was messy. He was still wearing the same jacket, now full of holes. His eyes, however, were sharp. Tired, but sharp. Lyra pulled the basket from her cloak and placed it on the ground. She didn't say a word. He looked at her for a moment, then nodded. "Thank you," he said softly, like he hadn't spoken in days. Lyra watched him take the food. He sat down and ate quietly. Every movement he made was careful, like he was used to pain. She stayed quiet, watching him. For a moment their eyes met. His were brown. Deep brown. There was something strange in them. Something that made her chest feel warm and strange. He stared a little longer this time. His hand stopped halfway through, eating. "What's your name?" he asked suddenly. She blinked. No one had ever asked her that. "Lyra," she said slowly. He nodded, like he had heard the name before. Then he looked down again. "Lyra," he whispered to himself. Like it was a memory, she tilted her head. "What's your name?" He didn't answer. He looked like he wanted to say it, but something stopped him. Then he said, "I don't know if it matters." Lyra frowned. She took a step closer. "Why are you here?" she asked. He looked up, and something passed through his eyes. Pain. Loss. "I lost everything," he said. "I was searching for someone, but they're gone now." Lyra looked at him carefully. Something inside her, some small voice whispered, "What if he's not lying? What if he's telling the truth?" Suddenly she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small cloth. It was old and torn, but clean. She placed it next to him. He stared at it. Slowly he picked it up. His hands began to shake. "This," he said, voice cracking. "This cloth." Lyra blinked. "It was my mother's," she said quietly. "I found it in her things." The man looked frozen. His eyes were wide. His mouth moved, but no words came. Lyra took a step back. "You know it?" He closed his eyes. "I gave it to her," he whispered. "A long time ago." Lyra's heart skipped a beat. The wind blew again. Harder this time. It made her cloak flap in the wind, and the lights from far away blinked like stars. In a storm, the man looked at her with new eyes now. "Lyra," he said again, stronger now. "Do you know your father?" She froze. "No," she said. "Mother never spoke of him." He nodded slowly. Pain filled his face. Regret, hope, fear, all at once. "I think," he began, but stopped. Lyra wanted to ask more. But just then, a loud siren sounded in the distance. Patrol guards were nearby. She turned quickly. "Go," she said. "Hide." He stood, taking the basket and cloth. "Thank you, Lyra." She watched him disappear into the darkness once more. Her heart beat fast. Her hands were cold, but deep inside something had changed. She didn't know why. But she needed to come back tomorrow, because something in his eyes had felt familiar. And maybe, just maybe, this wasn't just kindness anymore. Maybe it was something more. The next night came with heavy clouds. The wind howled louder than before. But Lyra didn't stay home. She had to see him again. All day she had thought about his face, how it had changed when she showed him the cloth, how he had spoken her name like he knew it, like he had said it many times before. It made her chest feel tight, like something old and forgotten was waking up inside her. She hid the bread and dried fruit under her scarf. Then, like a ghost, she slipped through the back gates and into the broken ruins. This time she didn't call out, she simply waited. And slowly, like last night, the human appeared. He didn't speak right away. He stood there, his hand on the wall, looking at her with those deep brown eyes. "You came back," he said softly. Lyra nodded. "You didn't take the cloth." He touched the small folded fabric still in his pocket. "I didn't want to steal it from you." "It's not stealing," she said. "If it was yours before, maybe it still is." A quiet moment passed between them. The human sat down on the cold stone floor and opened the food. He ate slowly, but not like he was starving now. He was calmer. Lyra sat across from him. No words, just silence, but not an uncomfortable one. It was the kind of silence that spoke in different ways. His eyes said, "Thank you." Her eyes said, "You're welcome." Every night after that, they met in the same spot. And every night the silence between them became something stronger. One night he pointed at the sky. "That one," he said, showing her a faint star, "was Earth's old direction. I used to look at that star when I was your age." Lyra listened closely. She had never known humans could speak gently. She thought they were all loud and cruel. That's what the others said, but this one, he was quiet, thoughtful. "I lived on a station above the clouds," he said. "Before the war." She tilted her head. "Why did you come here?" He hesitated. "I was searching for family, someone who was taken from me." Lyra's fingers touched the scarf tied around her wrist. Her mother had given it to her when she was 5, told her to never take it off. "Did you lose someone?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "A woman. She was special to me. She was carrying our child." Lyra's heart jumped. He didn't look at her. "She was caught in a raid. I never saw her again." "What was her name?" she asked. "Syra," he whispered. Her name was Syra. Lyra's mouth opened slightly. That was her mother's name. She didn't say it aloud. Not yet. She stood up, her legs weak. "I have to go. Will you come back?" She nodded once. "Yes." And she ran. The next night, Lyra didn't bring food. She brought questions. They sat like always, across from each other. She didn't speak for a long time. Then she said, "Syra is my mother's name." The man stopped chewing. His hands dropped. "What?" he whispered. Lyra stared at the floor. "She died 3 years ago, sick. She never told me about my father." He looked at her, slowly, deeply. "Did she ever say anything?" he asked. "Anything about the war?" "No, only that she left a place far away, and that she lost something important. But she never said what." The man placed his hand over his chest. "I never stopped looking," he said, "for her. For the child." "Why?" she asked, almost angry. "Why didn't you come sooner?" His voice broke. "Because I was locked in a prison camp, then I escaped. Then I was hunted. I never stopped, not one day. Lyra's breath was short. Her hands shook. Do you really think I'm your child? She asked. He looked at her. Lyra, you have her eyes. You have my nose. And the cloth. I gave it to her the day I promised to return. But I'm not human, she whispered. No. You're better, he said. You're both. She stood up. I need to think. He didn't follow. He didn't ask her to stay. He simply said, I'll wait here, tomorrow, and the next day, and as long as it takes. She didn't sleep that night. In the morning, she asked the caretaker who raised her, was I always here, or did I come from outside? The old alien woman looked nervous. Your mother brought you here from the war zone, said she had no one else. She never told me where you came from. Lyra stared out the window. A human man searching for a lost child. A mother who said nothing. A scarf. A name. A look. Could it be true? Could the human she gave food to really be her father? She didn't know the answer yet, but she knew one thing for sure. She'd be back tomorrow. And this time, she wanted answers. Lyra sat alone on the edge of the scrapyard wall, staring at the smoke drifting up from the outer factories. She couldn't stop thinking, what if it's true? What if that quiet, tired man hiding in the ruins really was her father? The idea didn't leave her mind, not even when she tried. It was like a seed growing in her heart, small but strong. She had to know. The answers wouldn't come from him alone. She needed something solid. Proof. There was only one place she could find that: the War Records Vault. Every alien and human captured, transferred, or relocated during the Great Collapse had their names entered into the vault. Most never dared go near it. It was guarded and restricted. But Lyra wasn't like most. She was small, quiet, and knew the back routes better than anyone her age. That night she moved like smoke through the shadows. The old library where the vault was hidden sat behind the broken church tower. The guards outside looked half asleep. Lyra waited, then moved. She crawled under the metal fencing, squeezed through the vent, and dropped silently into the dark archive room. Dust floated like snow. The lights flickered. Old paper files, cracked screens, and strange machines surrounded her. She moved straight to the terminal marked Interspecies Conflicts, Civilian Captures. Her hands trembled as she typed one word: Syra. 5 entries. She read quickly. Syra, Jane, captured during Raid 187B. Location, Sector Delta 34. Status, pregnant. Human connection, Matthew Reen. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. She typed, again, Matthew Reen. And there he was, human. Former engineer, arrested during peace protest, escaped from labor prison. Last seen near border zone between old human camp and alien refugee colony, Lyra's colony. Her hand covered her mouth. It wasn't just a story. It wasn't just feelings. This man, this stranger in the ruins, was her father. The next night, Lyra didn't sneak or hide. She ran to him. The man was already sitting in the corner of the ruins, his back against a broken beam, staring at the stars. He didn't look surprised when she arrived. I went to the records vault, she said, breathless. I found your name and hers. He looked at her carefully. You're telling the truth, she added. I always was, he said softly. I just didn't want to force you to believe it. Lyra sat down slowly. I saw the files, she said. It said she was pregnant when she was captured. He nodded. I begged them to let her go. I told them she was innocent. I told them she was carrying my child, but they didn't care. You were in prison after that? Yes, for years. I didn't even know if you were born. He looked down. I searched every camp, every station. When I finally heard rumors of a blue-skinned girl in a refugee colony named Lyra, I came here. But by then, I had no papers, no ship, no strength. I became nothing. She was quiet. The wind passed through the broken walls. Lyra reached into her pocket and pulled out a photo she had taken of the file with her mother's name. He looked at it, his eyes full of pain and love. "She never told me about you," Lyra said. "Not even once." He closed his eyes. Maybe she was afraid. Maybe she thought I was gone. "I think she was protecting me," Lyra whispered. "From me?" he asked sadly. "From hope," she answered. A long silence fell. Finally she asked, "Why didn't you tell me right away, when you saw me the first time?" He smiled sadly. "Because I wasn't sure. You were older than I imagined. You looked so much like her. I was afraid. If I was wrong, I'd break my own heart." Again. "But you weren't wrong," Lyra said. "I know that now." She looked at him closely. His face was tired, but his eyes were full of light now. A kind of light she had never seen before. "Do I look like you?" she asked. "You have my eyes," he said softly, "and your mother's strength." That made her smile. She leaned back against the wall beside him. For the first time they sat close, not as strangers, but something more. She looked up at the stars. "So, what happens now?" He was quiet. "That depends on you." "I want to know." "You," she said, "if you'll let me." "I've waited my whole life to hear that," he replied. The night no longer felt cold. They didn't speak after that. They didn't need to. Two souls once lost, now sat side by side, connected by truth, blood, and the quiet power of finding. What was once lost? Tomorrow, the world might reject them. But tonight, they were father and daughter. And that was enough. Lyra couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling of her small metal room, thinking about the man in the ruins. The human, who said he was her father. She believed him now. The records proved it. Her heart told her so. But believing didn't make everything easy. She was half human. That truth felt heavy, like a secret no one else should know. The colony hated humans. They blamed them for the hunger, the war, the broken cities. If they found out she was part human, what would they do? What would they do to him? She had to know more. She had to look him in the eyes and see the truth for herself. The morning came with fog. Gray clouds sat low over the scrapyard. Smoke drifted from nearby engines, and the air smelled like oil and rain. Lyra went to the ruins again. This time she carried nothing. No food. No blanket. Just a small wooden box her mother once gave her. Inside it was a broken necklace, a piece of folded paper, and a photo. Faded and old. She found him sitting in the same place. He was fixing a small radio. When he saw her, his face softened. "You came early," he said. "I couldn't wait." She sat down in front of him. Close. Closer than ever before. "I want to see something," she said. "What is it?" "Your eyes." He blinked. "My eyes?" She leaned forward. "Just look at me. Don't say anything." He did. Quietly. Calmly. He looked right at her. She stared into his eyes. Brown, deep, full of pain. Yes. But also something else. Something warm. A feeling she had felt only once before. When her mother was still alive and used to sing to her before sleep, she saw that in his eyes. And suddenly, she knew she didn't need more proof. She didn't need more words. He was her father. She smiled, a real, wide smile, the kind she hadn't felt in years. He smiled too, but there were tears in his eyes now. "I see it," she whispered. "You do?" She nodded. "You looked at me like she used to." He lowered his head. His voice cracked. "I never got to say goodbye to her. I never even saw you born. I missed everything. But you're here now," she said. "That's what matters." She reached into her pocket and handed him the small wooden box. He opened it slowly. When he saw the photo inside, his hands began to shake. It was a picture of her mother. Younger, happier, standing beside a human man. Him. "That's us," he whispered. She hid it in her scarf. "I found it after she passed." He clutched it to his chest. "I thought this was gone forever." "She never forgot you," Lyra said. His voice shook. "I never stopped looking for both of you." They sat quietly again, but this silence felt different. It wasn't empty, it was full. Full of memories, of stories untold, of time lost and finally found. Suddenly, footsteps. Lyra turned fast. 2 colony guards appeared from behind the walls. Tall, armed, unsmiling. "What's going on here?" One of them barked. "Why are you with a human?" The man stood quickly. His hand moved to shield Lyra. "She's my daughter," he said. Lyra gasped. The guards frowned. "What did you say?" "I said she's my daughter," he repeated. "Her mother was Syrah. She died years ago." "You're lying," one guard snapped. "We don't mix with humans. That's against protocol." "She's not lying," Lyra said, stepping forward. "I checked the records, it's all true." The guards looked at each other. One raised his weapon. "Step away from the girl," he ordered. "No," she said firmly. "He's not dangerous. He's my family." The second guard hesitated. "We'll need to take him in for questioning." "He won't survive that," Lyra said. "He's weak, sick, you'll kill him." "It's not our decision," the first replied. "We follow orders." Lyra's heart pounded. She looked at her father. He didn't move. He only looked at her with calm, steady eyes. "I'll go," he said softly, "if it keeps her safe." "No," Lyra shouted. "You just found me." The guard stepped closer. Lyra did something no one expected. She stepped in front of him, arms wide. "If you touch him," she said loudly, "then you'll have to take me too." Silence. Then, the second guard lowered his weapon slightly. "You'd protect a human?" he asked. "He's not just a human," she said. "He's my father, and I'm not ashamed of that." The guard stood still. Finally, the first one spoke. "This isn't over." They walked away. Lyra turned back, shaking. Her father slowly reached out and placed his hand on her shoulder. "You didn't have to do that," he whispered. "Yes," she said. "I did." He smiled, proud, sad, grateful, and in that moment, without a doubt, they both knew. They belonged to each other, no matter what anyone else said. The sky was darker than usual that night. No stars, no moon, just deep black above the ruined colony. Lyra sat beside her father under the bent tower beam, both silent. She held something in her hands. A small, round stone, smooth, green, and glowing faintly under her fingers. "This," she whispered, "was the only thing my mother wore every day, even when she was sick, even when she had nothing else." Her father leaned closer. "I remember it." "You do?" she asked. He nodded. "I gave it to her, the day she told me you were coming." Lyra blinked. "You mean the day she found out she was pregnant?" "Yes," he said softly. "We didn't have rings. We had no future, but we had hope. I carved that stone myself, from a crystal found near the engine fields. She wore it always." Lyra looked down at it again, so small, but now it felt like the weight of 1,000 memories was inside it. "She told me," Lyra whispered, "that this stone was the only piece of light from before the dark. I thought she meant the war." "She meant us," he replied. Lyra's fingers curled around the stone. She held it tight like she never wanted to lose it again. "Why did no one believe you were my father?" she asked. "Because people only see what they want to see," he said. "An old human hiding in trash. What reason would they have to believe anything else?" "They don't know you," she said. "They don't need to," he replied. "But you do, and that's enough for me." Lyra looked at him. You always knew I was yours? He smiled faintly. Not at first, but the more I saw you. Your eyes, your voice, the way you gave food without asking anything in return. That's when I knew. You were her child. My child. She felt tears sting her eyes. It was strange. She had spent her whole life feeling alone, even when surrounded by people. And now, in this ruined place with a man who looked nothing like her, she felt more seen than ever before. I want to remember this moment, she said. Her father nodded. Then we will. She took the stone and placed it in his hand. You keep it tonight. No, he said, gently closing her fingers around it. It belongs with you now. It was always meant for you. Suddenly, Lyra heard something. Voices, close, angry. She jumped up. Guards again. They ducked behind a rusted metal wall as two soldiers passed, talking loud. Can't trust that half-breed. She's been meeting that human again. They're up to something. Lyra clenched her jaw. Her father looked calm but tired. They'll come for you, she whispered. Maybe both of us. I know, he said. But you can't run forever. He looked at her. I don't want to run anymore. What do we do then? She asked. We don't hide, he said. We stand. Her breath caught. He wasn't afraid anymore. Even when danger was close, he wasn't running. He was ready to face whatever came for her. And suddenly, Lyra knew what she had to do. The next morning, Lyra walked into the council hall of the colony. Heads turned. People stared. A young girl, alone, but walking strong. In her hand, she held the glowing memory stone. I want to speak, she said loudly. The elders frowned. This is no place for children, one said. I am not just a child, she said. I am Lyra, daughter of Syrah and of Matthew Reen, a human. Gasps, whispers. He's alive, she said. And I found him. He's not the monster you were taught to fear. He's kind, brave, and he's my father. One elder stood. Impossible. We don't allow humans here. You allowed me, she replied. Then allow the truth too. Another elder stepped forward. And what do you want, girl? I want him to stay. With me. As my father. Silence. Lyra raised the stone high. This stone, she said, voice shaking, was the last thing my mother kept. It proves their bond, this stone and my heart. The room was quiet. Then one elder stepped down. Slowly, he looked at her, then at the stone. I knew your mother, he said quietly. She was strong, kind. She wore that stone every day, even when she was dying. Lyra didn't move. The elder turned to the others. Maybe. The war didn't take everything. Maybe it left behind a second chance. That night, Lyra ran back to the ruins. Her father was waiting, sitting with a piece of broken metal like it was a bench. She smiled. They listened, she said. Not all believed, but some. Some gave us a chance. He stood slowly. Then it's more than I ever hoped. Lyra stepped closer. We're not hiding anymore. He looked at her with those warm, tired, proud eyes. No, he said. Not ever again. She reached for his hand, and this time he didn't pull away. They stood together under a sky slowly clearing, where one star finally peeked through the clouds. Not a perfect world, but a new beginning. Together. Lyra thought things would get better. She thought that once the elders heard her truth, once they saw the memory stone, people would begin to accept her father. That maybe, just maybe, they would open their hearts. She was wrong. Whispers followed her everywhere. That's the girl with the human father. She's not like us anymore. She's half-blood. Some turned their backs, some shut their doors. Children she once played with looked away now. Even the teachers at the learning hall spoke to her less. Worse still, her father became a target. He wasn't allowed to walk freely in the colony. Guards followed him. Some workers threw rocks at him when he passed. One morning, someone left. A message scratched into their supply door. Humans don't belong here. Lyra stood in front of the words for a long time, her fists clenched, her eyes burned. Not with tears, but with anger. That night, she and her father sat inside a cold, half-broken shelter near the far edge of the colony. It was the only place they were allowed to stay now. "They hate us," she said. Her father looked calm, but tired. "They fear what they don't understand." She looked at him. "Why are you not angry?" "Because I was alone before," he said. "Now I have you. That is more than I ever hoped for." Lyra lowered her head. "It's not fair." "No, it's not," he agreed. "But fairness isn't always given. Sometimes we have to fight for it." She looked up. "How?" "By living," he said. "By standing tall. By showing them who we are, not who they fear." The next day, things got worse. A group of older aliens cornered Lyra outside the food station. One of them was the son of a local guard. Bigger, stronger, angry. "Think you're better than us now?" he said. "No," Lyra answered, standing tall. "I'm just myself." "You bring danger here," he growled. "Humans destroy everything. My father never hurt anyone." "They always start that way," he said, stepping closer. Lyra didn't back down. "You don't know him?" "I don't need to." Before he could touch her, an elder's voice rang out. "Enough." It was the same elder who once knew her mother. He stepped between them. "She is under our protection. Her father may be human, but he is no enemy." The group backed off, but not with respect. With anger, hate still burned in their eyes. Lyra walked away, her heart heavy. Later in the shelter, she asked, "Will they ever stop?" Her father looked out the broken window. "Maybe, or maybe not, but you're not alone anymore." "Sometimes I wish I was just normal," she said, "like everyone else." He turned to her. "You are more than normal. You are a bridge between two worlds. That's not weakness, that's power." She stared at him. He meant it, every word. Maybe that's what scared them most. The next morning, someone threw a bottle through their shelter wall. It shattered. Lyra screamed. Her father rushed to shield her. When the guards arrived, they said little. "We warned you this might happen," one muttered. Lyra shouted, "You don't protect us, you watch us like we're criminals." The guard looked away. They didn't care. That night, Lyra didn't sleep. She sat outside under the stars, clutching the memory stone. Her father sat beside her. "We don't belong here," she whispered. "Not to them," he agreed. "But we belong to each other." She looked at him. "What if we left? Found a place where no one knows us?" He was quiet for a long time, then he said, "I would follow you anywhere." Her heart ached, but it also beat with something new. Courage. The next day, Lyra stood in the center of the colony square. People stopped and stared. Her father stood beside her. "I'm not here to ask for approval," she said loudly. "I'm not here to beg." The crowd grew. "I was born here. I was raised here. I helped build your walls, clean your streets, carry your water, and now you hate me because of where part of me comes from." Murmurs. "This is my father," she said. "He gave me nothing but kindness. He hurt no one, but you treat him like a threat." She held up the memory stone. "This was my mother's. She believed in peace, she believed in love. You loved her, but now you turn your backs on her child." Silence. "If you want us gone, say it. But know this, the only thing dangerous about us is your fear." She turned. No one stopped her, but one hand reached out. The elder. He nodded. Just once. A small spark in a dark place. That night, Lyra and her father packed their things. They would leave soon. Not because they were weak, but because they were strong enough to build something better. Somewhere new. Together. The sun had not yet risen, but Lyra was already awake. The colony was quiet. No footsteps, no whispers, no judging eyes. Just silence and the cold air brushing against her skin. She stood at the edge of the colony gates, a worn bag on her back, the memory stone around her neck, and beside her, her father. Matthew Reen looked tired but at peace. This place had never welcomed him. But he had found something here far more valuable than safety. He had found her. "You don't have to do this," he said gently, though. His voice already knew her answer. "I made a promise," Lyra replied, her eyes locked on the horizon. "To myself. To her. To you." He smiled softly. "What promise?" "That I would never live in fear," she said. "That I would never let hate decide who I could love." She looked up at him. "And that I would never leave you again." They walked through the border tunnels, past walls covered in old paint and broken signs. The guards at the last checkpoint barely looked at them. One recognized Lyra. He opened the gate without a word. A few people watched them leave, some with sadness, some with shame, but no one stopped them. They were leaving behind a broken place, but not running. They were choosing something better. The world outside the colony was wild, tall silver trees, quiet winds, sky fields full of mist and flying creatures. Lyra had only heard about these places in stories. Her father had seen them before the war. Now they walked through them, free. They spoke little the first day, but the silence between them was not empty. It was full of meaning, full of unspoken trust. They made camp near a blue river, ate dried fruit and root bread. Her father smiled as he lit a small fire. "You remind me of her," he said. "The way you speak, the way you walk. She would have been proud of you." Lyra looked into the flames. "She told me once that I would be the strongest part of both worlds," she said. "Back then I didn't understand what she meant." "And now?" he asked. She smiled. "I do." Days passed. Forests became hills. Hills became stone paths. And finally they found it. A small human alien settlement beyond the mountains. A place where war survivors had built something different. A place for those with no home. They entered the gates together. No guards stopped them. No eyes judged them. Just open space. And people who looked like both of them. Children with silver eyes and human hair. Adults with mixed skin tones and strange accents. They smiled. Here, no one asked where you came from. They only asked, "What can you build with us?" Lyra and her father were given a small home, a round shelter made of bioclay and wood. It wasn't much, but it was safe and warm. They worked in the gardens during the day. Her father repaired tools and built heating units. Lyra taught the younger children how to read. Every evening they walked together, and every night she wore the memory stone as a light around her neck. One evening her father gave her a small, folded cloth. "What is this?" she asked. "I found it in the old bag," he said. "It's a letter." She opened it carefully. It was her mother's writing. "To the child I never got to raise, you are more than what they say you are. You are love. You are peace born in the middle of war. And if one day you find your father, promise me you'll forgive the world. And promise me you'll never hide. I believe in you." Lyra didn't cry. She held the letter close and looked at the stars. Then she whispered, "I promise." That night, she and her father stood by the river under the moonlight. "What do we do now?" he asked. Lyra looked around the small village. "We live," she said. "We grow. We help others who are lost like we were. And if the world tries to push us down again," she held the memory stone tightly, "then we rise." He laughed gently. "You really are her daughter." "No," Lyra said. "I'm your daughter too." She looked up at him. I'm both, and I'm proud of it. Her father smiled, a tear in his eye. The past had nearly broken them. But now, because they had each other, nothing could. Not war, not fear, not hate. Just love, daughter's promise, and a future built on truth, together.